Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thundertron podcast. So today I'm discussing and giving you my thoughts on the Transformers Legacy United Wave 1, which was just released and revealed at PulseCon. Please leave all your thoughts on these figures in the comment section below. I'd really like to know which figures you're going to pick up and which figures you're going to pass on. I'm actually going to start off by talking about the biggest figure, the leader class from Wave 1, which there is actually some kind of unfortunate bad news to go with this leader class, because for quite some time before PulseCon, before Wave 1 was, up for pre-order and purchase, we actually thought we were maybe going to get 2 leaders, but unfortunately they did not turn out to be true. So kind of a quick backstory of what happened. So for a while now, we actually had some listings for pretty much most of these figures. We had an idea that we were maybe going to get a leader class Beast Wars Tigerhawk. That didn't turn out to be true. We are going to get a Tigerhawk, which is available for pre-order that I'm going to talk about in just a sec. And we were going to get a Thundertron figure. That also did turn out to be true. We were going to get an animated Optimus Prime. That also did turn out to be true, and several others, and so on. We also did have a listing of a Transformers Legacy Uni Leader Class Optimus Prime. Of course, at the time, we had no idea what Uni stood for. We were thinking maybe Universe. Some people thought Unicron. I thought Universe. But it turned out to be Transformers Legacy United. So we were thinking, okay, maybe we're going to get a Leader Class Optimus Prime. That's pretty cool, because the last one we got was Earthrise, and that's quite a while ago. I think that's almost like 4 or 5 years ago, which is surprising. That is a very solid figure, but maybe it's due time for an update on Optimus Prime figure. Unfortunately, it kind of turned out to be a bit of a disappointment. It's very lackluster, and the reason why we actually thought this figure was going to be brand new and not just a package refresh, if you don't know what that means, is they're pretty much just taking a figure from a previous line such as Kingdom, Earthrise, Siege, anything, and just putting it in the new packaging that is of course accurate or the same as the line that's currently happening. And that is what they did, and even on this listing it actually did not say PR or package refresh. That's just adding more evidence and reasons why we thought this was going to be a brand new figure. But it turns out we will be getting an Optimus Prime figure. They're just going to take that G2 Optimus Prime from Legacy Wave 1 and just putting it in that Transformers Legacy United packaging. So this is probably pretty boring for most people. If you did miss out on that leader class figure, you have a perfect opportunity to get this figure now. If you don't have G2 Laser Optimus Prime, I actually have to say it's probably one of my favorite leaders of Transformers Legacy. Not my favorite, but definitely in the top. He's a very good figure overall. Highly recommend him. And there's actually quite a few repaints on the market as well that are really solid figures as well. So if you never got it, highly recommend to get it, and you'll actually have somewhat of a bonus. You'll actually have that new Transformers Legacy United packaging that some people might not actually have at the time. But with all that out of the way, we only have one leader. Of course, there's the backstory. So let's actually get into the leader we do have, which is very, very interesting. So we actually have the Transformers Legacy United leader class Beast Wars Universe Tigerhawk, which if you don't know is pretty much a merge of Airazor and Tigertron, because the Vok, I'm pretty sure, merge their sparks and their bodies to form somewhat of an abomination of a transformer, but it looks absolutely awesome. So the price is $55, exactly what a leader class price should be, and the release is January 1st, 2024, which I do have to say for pretty much all of these dates, there's actually kind of a variety of dates. Some of them are January, some of them are February. I do think probably most of these, the majority of them, will probably be December. I do think quite a few of these will actually probably be getting this year, maybe at the very, very end, maybe like the last week of December. I do think we'll probably get some, if not maybe even one of these figures. Because that's typically how it is. I mean, a very good example is I actually just got, depending on when you're listening to this audio, but at the time of recording, I actually just got the 86 Commander class Ultra Magnus from a normal toy store, a normal, action figure store, not overpriced, completely legitimate, and, it comes out in November, and I got it now, and it's still in September. So the bottom line is, they usually actually release about a month or even more early. So if you're kind of bummed about a few of these dates, don't be, because I think most of them will change. Do I know for sure they will? No, just speaking from experience. But one thing that actually really stood out to me is this figure transforms in 43 steps. That's actually kind of why my mind actually kind of wandered to Ultra Magnus, because he actually also does transform in 43 steps, and he is a commander class. This is a leader class, 43 steps. That is wow. The figure does have 5 accessories, and another really cool detail on the packaging, they actually do show the back of the box. There is the 40th anniversary of Transformers little logo on the back of the box, which I didn't know they were going to put on these packaging. So it appears figures for pretty much all of Transformers Legacy United. They're going to put that, 40th anniversary logo. And I guess maybe they could do the same for Stu Series. Unfortunately, there was no Stu Series reveals today. I was actually expecting to have to do two separate segments, one for Stu Series, one for Transformers Legacy United, but that is not the case. So hopefully, maybe before the year ends, before 2023 is over, maybe we'll get like a live stream showing off some Stu Series figures, because I do know there's quite a few listings and rumors out there for some Gamer Editions, some more 86, some more movie stuff, so hopefully we can see that before the year is over, and maybe we'll actually find out. Maybe they're going to do that 40th anniversary logo on those boxes too. I'd actually be very interested to find out. But the figure looks absolutely amazing. It looks so crazy. The deco, the design. They actually definitely did say during the live stream they took cues from Airazor and Tigertron, because of course it's pretty much, those characters into one. I'm pretty sure there's probably some texturing. I do like the metallic purple and kind of the bronze gold mixture. I do like the white. I do think some of the proportions for the kind of wolf tiger mode are a bit off, because the front of the legs or the front paws are way bigger than the back ones. I think that's typically how most kind of wolves or sort of tigers are. I do think the front legs are a bit bigger than the back. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it's just way too off in my opinion. I think the reason why is I'm pretty sure the arms in the robot mode do transform into the front legs, so of course naturally they are going to be quite big, and the back legs I'm pretty sure are probably stored maybe somewhere on the robot mode legs, so I think maybe they could have tried to make the proportions just a tad bit better. I do know of course they're not going to shrink the robot mode arms to be super tiny. I just think maybe the hind legs could be a bit bigger. I do love the huge wings. I think that looks so crazy, and the crazy huge kind of tiger wolf head looks absolutely awesome as well, with a really nice gold and purple. Just a very ferocious, scary looking thing. As for his remote, I do like the green visor, a very classic, iconic trait. A part of Tigerhawk. I do love the huge wings. That looks really cool as well. And I also do love the huge claws on pretty much, I guess you could say, the chest or neck region, and the huge animal head on the shoulder. I think that's a really nice detail as well. And that's really all I have. I'm not going to spend that much time on all these figures because there's quite a bit to talk about, and I don't want this podcast segment to be, like an hour long. But yeah, very, very promising. I pre-ordered this. I purchased this day one, and I'm really looking forward to it. I guess one last detail about the packaging that definitely stood out to probably quite a few people. As they did change the style of the packaging. So, the packaging for these figures has been quite controversial for a while now. So for a while now, they've actually removed the plastic window, which I definitely do approve because it is better for the environment. I do know, of course, there are definitely some cons to that because people will steal stuff. The packaging could get broken. The figure could maybe have some paint chips. It could cause stress marks. A lot of stuff I really don't want to get into in full. But there definitely is some minuses to that, but there's also some pluses. The reason why I'm mentioning this is they actually are kind of doing the same treatment to leader class boxes now, which in a way I guess is somewhat a good thing because you do want to see if you find these in stores, you do want to look in there and make sure, all the stuff is in there. Like, does the figure look okay? Does he have his head? Because there's actually been quite a few cases of people stealing the figure's heads. And of course, you just have a headless Transformer toy at Target or Walmart or whatever. So there is a plus. You can, double check and make sure there's some pieces in there. Of course, you can't see the accessories because they're pretty much deep inside the box. You will never be able to tell with that. But the figure, you do have somewhat of a view, which is nice. I think for people displaying these in the box, because some people just leave them in the box forever, that probably is also a plus. What is a minus is, people can reach in there and steal stuff. That is a minus. I do probably kind of prefer maybe the older way, because there's actually more artwork. Before there was no open window, no window at all. They actually had an artwork shot for both modes, and I actually really like that. I do know, since it's, $55, one of the most expensive of the mainline figures, besides the Commander class and the Titan, which is only one a year, I do know people want to see what's in there. How is this going to look when I get home? Am I going to get disappointed? Am I going to have to return this? So there are definitely pluses and minuses to both, but I just wanted to say that. So from now, I think all leaders are going to have that open window. I do have a question for Hasbro, if they are listening. Will they do this for Commander classes? Because, for a while now, I think every single Commander class has had a closed window box. Will they change that for Commander classes as well? I don't know. But now moving down a class size, this is just one I'm just so excited for. I think you can probably guess what I'm talking about, but it is the Transformers Legacy United Voyager class Prime Universe Thundertron. So if you haven't connected the dots already, you know my channel name is Thundertron Reviews and Podcast. This character is Thundertron, so wow, I could not be more happy and excited for this figure. I do have some complaints. I'm just going to say right now, the head sculpt on this figure I probably don't like as much as the old one. There was actually an original Transformers Prime Thundertron figure when Transformers Prime was still going on, because it was supposed to be in Season 3 but never made it in that series. So if you are wondering, if you're looking at this figure and you're wondering why does it say Prime Universe if he was never in the series, well, he was supposed to be, but at the last minute was taken out, and he is a Star Seeker. He's the leader of the Star Seekers. It's kind of a pirate group or gang, pretty much seeking revenge on all Cybertronians because he blames them for destroying his homeworld. So he pretty much is a pirate and he wants revenge. And I always just loved his backstory, loved his design and his concept. I just love everything about it. And I think it does look cool, but I definitely do prefer the older head sculpt on the original one over this one. But maybe I'll change my mind once that I get in hand. But it looks so cool. I do love the huge tiger head on the chest, the huge big beefy shoulders. Apparently they did say there's some battle damage on the head sculpt, which I have yet to see, so I'll have to wait until I get that in hand, because I do not see any right now. It might just be very, very small. I do love the awesome claws, pretty much where the hands are. It definitely reminds me of like Wolverine. I think that's absolutely awesome. I do love all the gold, kind of bronze paint apps. It makes it look very kind of medieval knight style type of design. I do have one concern though, and if you do own the original Thundertron, you know exactly what I'm about to say, but on the original Thundertron, he had these two side panels pretty much near the chest, near the head of the tiger that's on the chest, and it does appear to have that sort of same layout and design. It does appear to have two panels there, and they do appear to be on hinges. Well, that was one of the major problems on the original one. The panels would pop off all the time, and I actually recently did rebuy that old version because I actually wanted that new version, or the old version, in a new, mint condition, so I could able to compare the old version to this new one. And as soon as I bought that one, I actually have only had it for a couple weeks now. The panels are already popping off, and I've only transformed it like once or twice. So hopefully, in this case, it's not like that. I think Hasbro, hopefully, they learned their mistakes. I mean, that figure was from, I think, almost over 10 years ago, so I really do hope they learn their lesson. I do hope these panels are maybe on like pins, or if they're on like a really sturdy connection, I'm gonna be happy. It does appear, though, a part of transformation, you might not even move the panels, from what I can tell, so I'm actually not really sure why they're on hinges. You can definitely tell they're on hinges, because there's a few crevices and gaps in there. You can definitely tell there's a few hinges and some areas that actually move. It could be just for display, I don't know, but bottom line is, that's really my only concern. I just really hope it's not that same thing repeated. If it is, I might just glue them on there, because I just do not want to deal with that again. But it just looks so cool. Absolutely love it. I do love how you can actually remove the foot and give him his peg leg. I do have a bit of a kind of a worry, I guess, or kind of something I don't like. The foot design looks like pretty much the exact same thing as the original one. And the molding too. It looks like they took pretty much the exact same foot design and just repeated it here, which the foot design is cool and all, but it does seem a bit cheap. They did change the colors, which is nice. Just from the pictures, as soon as they revealed this at PulseCon, I was like, wait, that looks like the exact same foot, the exact same piece. Hopefully I'm wrong, just from the pictures, that's what I see, but maybe once I get in hand, I'll be like, oh, that's completely different. But you can remove the foot, one over the feet. I'm actually not sure if it's the left or right. And you can give him his peg leg, which is how I'm going to display it. And you can actually attach the foot to the sword to sort of upgrade it, make it look a bit more war-torn, kind of knight-like, which is cool. And he does transform into his really cool kind of wolf-tiger thing, which looks absolutely awesome. Love it. He has his tail, which is super cool. Looks very ferocious and scary. I just could not be more happy. He also does come with a sword, which, no, it doesn't have a gimmick. I do know. I just have to say now, probably as soon as this figure is released, everyone who owns the older version, the original one, is going to compare this one to the old one. I will as well, and probably a lot of people are going to be in Hasbro's case saying, oh, this doesn't have a light feature or a spring-loaded feature like the old one. No, it doesn't. This does not have a spring-loaded feature or a light feature. That is true, but I have owned that old version twice now. As I said, I bought a new one, a new copy in mint condition, and both of those copies, the light feature and spring-loaded feature, never really worked. The light feature somewhat worked, but it was a very dim light, and I never really understood what they were trying to do with that gimmick, and the spring-loaded feature never worked for me, and I own 2 copies or 2 versions of that figure, and the spring-loaded feature on the sword never works. So, truth to be told, I'm actually okay with it not being a spring-loaded feature because I've had pretty bad experiences with it, and I think the sword looks really cool. It's a really nice silverish gunmetal gray, looks very ferocious and scary, and I'm just overall very, very happy. He does have mouth articulation, if you don't know, which is super cool, and I do love the box. I absolutely, positively will be keeping this box, and I actually might be getting 2 copies of this figure, one to keep in the box, one to keep out, and I do love the huge, tiger line on the front. And the figure transforms in 24 steps, which I definitely think is pretty good. And if I didn't already say, the release date is February 1st, and the price is $35. And that is it for Thundertron. Of course, I could go on and on about this character and this figure forever, but we do have to move on. So I'm going to quickly talk about the other Voyager, because I already did do a separate segment and news video covering this guy. Of course, at the time, we didn't have as good images as we do now, or the price, or the release date. So I'm just going to quickly kind of do sort of an update on this guy, but it won't be nearly as long as the other ones because we have a lot more to discuss with some new figures we have not seen before. So we do have the animated universe Voyager class Optimus Prime, which again I already did do a separate segment on, same as Bumblebee. So whenever we get to Bumblebee, I'm going to go pretty quick on it because I already did do a separate segment on it. But the release date is February 1st, 2024. Again, probably will change, and the price is $35. So we do now know the price and release date. The price was always kind of a given, and yeah, just quickly kind of giving my thoughts. I think this looks very promising. I also did pre-order this one too. Really looking forward to it. Animated has never been, I would say, my top favorite series. It's definitely one of my favorites, but I would say, I definitely do prefer some shows or series over that one. But I've always actually really liked his Optimus Prime design, probably definitely in my top 5 favorite of the Optimus Prime designs. And I do love his axe. They actually did confirm at PulseCon his axe is somewhat customizable. Where you can make it bigger and smaller. That was actually one of my theories when I did the first initial video on this before PulseCon. I actually had to guess this is customizable because you could actually tell it was several separate pieces, but they never showed it in 2 different ways. So they did confirm you can make it smaller, which is nice because they actually did that in the show. There were several times where we had sort of a small handheld axe, and there was other times where we had this huge, massive one. So I'm actually really glad with that. And yeah, I have to say, it looks really good. I know there has been a lot of talk about his battle mask. People really want his battle mask. I think I do have a theory, just to guess. I think they'll probably have a repaint of this, maybe down the line. Maybe like an Amazon exclusive or like a Target exclusive or something like that. Maybe a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And maybe we'll actually kind of get like sort of an upgrade kit, sort of a multi-pack set with more accessories, because all we got was his axe, and he had other accessories. He actually had I'm pretty sure, like a grappling hook or like a sort of a harpoon weapon. He also had like some fire extinguishers and some water cannons, and there was actually a time at the very end of the series where he had a jetpack. So I think there is some huge potential for Hasbro to do sort of a kind of a multi-pack or sort of a multi-set, sort of like the Centurion drone pack from Siege a long time ago, or it could come, with his jetpack. Actually, there was a time he did wield Magnus's hammer. They could give him the Forge of Solus Prime, so they could give him that as well. So many options, and they could also, of course, give him that battle mask or sort of an alternate head sculpt. But that is all I'm going to spend on that, because again, I already did do a video covering that guy. But now, moving into the deluxes, I'm actually going to start off with Bumblebee, because again, I somewhat already covered this, but we do now know the official release date is January 1st. Again, probably will change, and the price is $25, exactly what you would expect. And yeah, I think this looks really good. I didn't pre-order or purchase this one because it is a mainline deluxe, so I really wouldn't say I am concerned or worried in finding this guy. I think it'll be pretty easy to get, if I ever look for it. If it's ever available, I'll probably be able to track it down pretty quick and pretty easily. But no, I do quite like this. This is probably one of my second favorite deluxes of this wave. Probably my favorite has to be Windblade, I think. But yeah, I do like how it comes with 4 accessories. That's a really nice touch. I do like the head sculpt with the cute smirk. That's nice as well. I do think, I'm just going to mention this complaint now because maybe people didn't see that other video. I think there's probably too much smoky gray plastic because there's some on the chest, like the windscreen, you know, and there's also some on the accessories, so it seems a bit too much. I think they probably should have had, you know, the chest be the smoky gray and the rocket engines or the rocket boosters be like a silver or just like maybe a clear plastic. That probably would have been a bit better. That's just my opinion anyway, but overall, a very solid looking deluxe. Now moving on to the next deluxe, we actually finally have our gimmick, you know, or kind of our feature of Transformers Legacy United. So, you know, last year it was the Junkions, or I guess this year was the Junkions, you know, and the year before, it was the Energon-infused weapons, and now it's the rock people, or kind of the rock feature, I guess. It's a bit hard to describe. But we're going to be talking about the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe class and Fernarak Universe Magnius. I think that's how you say it. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. But the bottom line is we were actually sort of being told the truth with those listings, because there was quite a few listings, as I mentioned before with the leaders. There was listings of these like rock people. They were listed as, you know, Core Class Rock 1, Core Class Rock 2, Deluxe Class Rock 3, and we were like, what does that mean? And a lot of us were like, oh, it's just a placeholder, because they've done that before. Like with the Junkions, they were listed as like, I don't know, something crazy like Plane 1 or Plane 2 or like, you know, Character 1, Character 2, something like that. They didn't actually have an assigned name. But with this, we were actually told the truth. They are pretty much rock people, and they pretty much have that same functionality as the Junkions. They can separate into pieces, and you can attach them to other characters to pretty much weaponize them or upgrade them and add those weapons, which I always thought was a pretty fun feature. I never really personally use it myself. I guess, you know, for videos I show it off, but truth be told, on my free time, do I ever display it with those gimmicks? Not really. But I do know a lot of people really like them, and I have to say, I absolutely love the appearance of this guy. I think he's probably tied with Windblade. I'm kind of off and on with that. But I do love the whole rock appearance and style. He has a ton of, you know, spiky bits, really cool texturing. I can tell even from the image he has a ton of texturing. I love the mismatched design. I do love the interesting head. His head actually literally does look like a rock with a face on it, which I think is super cool. And I think we're supposed to be getting a lot more of these, which I think has huge potential. I can already see now, if I were to choose one and make one, they should make like a rock one that's like molten lava. Like he could have like running lava or like, you know, molten rock or magma going through him, kind of like Trikrenicus. That was another Hasbro Pulse exclusive. That was a fossilizer, you know, another one of these gimmicks from Kingdom, and that was sort of a lava rock one, and they could do kind of the same thing with this, and I would love that. I think that'd be so cool. And he does come, I'm pretty sure it's like, let me see, it's 2 accessories. Yeah, it's kind of a axe harpoon weapon. You can sort of use it as both. And he transforms into sort of a car thing. It's like a rock car. It's pretty interesting. I guess probably people will beg a question, how does he transform into, you know, a car, and like, what does it do if it's like made of rocks? I don't know. I guess you can really use your imagination. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. I got this one as well, and I'm really looking forward to this. And if I haven't said it already, January 1st is the release date, and the price is $25. But yeah, please do let me know what you think of the new gimmick. Do you think this is one of your favorite gimmicks so far? Does it, you know, live up to the expectations, you know, and kind of the standard we've had, you know, for the past ones, like such as the fossilizers and the Junkions? Because I do know the Junkions were extremely popular, so hopefully this gimmick kind of left met your expectations. But moving on to the next deluxe class figure, we do have the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Rescue Bots Universe Autobot Chase. The price is $25. The release is January 1st, 2024. And there's actually some really good news about this, because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but for a while there was actually some rumors that this was going to be a repaint retool of that animated universe Bumblebee. And from what I can tell, I think it's a completely different figure. The chest looks slightly similar, but the arms, the legs, the head sculpt looks completely different. But from what I can tell, it's a brand new figure. If it was a repaint retool Bumblebee, I think that still would have been fine, considering, of course, that's a brand brand new mold. So, you know, for some people, maybe if they didn't want that Bumblebee, they could get this Chase and it would still be a new figure for them. And if you got both of these and they're both repaint retools of each other, it's a brand new mold, so I really wouldn't have minded. I'm actually not very familiar with this character because I never watched Rescue Bots. I've never really got into it. I know next to nothing about that series or the characters, but he's somewhat of like a cop, you know, an officer. I do like the kind of blue and red on his head, you know, and apparently his weapon is supposed to be kind of like brass knuckles, and I do love the transparent blue on them. I think that looks absolutely awesome, and I do love all the, you know, kind of police details and sirens, definitely very police heavy. The design and the style, which is pretty cool, and he does transform into, as you would guess, a police car, and I think that looks really cool. Very classic. I do love the yellow for the windscreen and the headlights, and the blue and the white. It just seems really simple, but in a good way. Very simple in a good way. And his accessory can store on the back of his police car. And let's see, how many steps does he transform into? He transforms in 18 steps, so I think that's pretty cool. It does say 5 accessories, but from the images we have, I can only see like 2. He has like the siren piece and the brass knuckles, so I really don't know what the other pieces are. It could maybe be his light bar piece. That could be one of his accessories. But yeah, I think it looks like a really solid figure, and this is actually one very important figure because this is our first Rescue Bots character from the Rescue Bots series in this modern legacy lineup, so we'll probably have more to come. And now moving on to our last deluxe, and then of course we're going to move on to the core classes and then end this segment. We have Windblade, which I did briefly mention, but I'm going to spend the usual amount of time on this character because we barely talked about it, but quite a while ago, you know, about a week ago, I would say, when we had some leaked images of Bumblebee and Optimus, we had just one image, the back of the wing of Windblade, kind of the back of her head and her accessories, and, you know, I really couldn't say much at the time. I was like, it looks good, you know, but that was it. But here we have it. I didn't pre-order or purchase this one. I will be getting it. I think it looks promising. I think her design looks really good. I actually do quite like the Cyberverse series. I think that it's a pretty good series. Definitely not my favorite, but definitely at that top of the list. Yeah, I think she looks very solid. Windblade looks really good. The release date is January 1st, and this one actually is sold out. Interesting enough, this is actually the only one that is sold out. But yeah, I think the figure looks promising. I do have one complaint off the bat, is the wings. Hopefully this is mistransformed because the bottom of the wings are actually facing towards, I guess, you know, when you would hold the figure towards the front. And there's actually quite a bit of waffling and hollow areas, and there's also quite a few ports, I'm assuming for accessories. But when you don't use the accessories, when you don't store them in those ports, you know, just a huge hole or a port and waffling doesn't look the greatest. So hopefully the back of the wing, or kind of the bottom side or the ugly side of the wing, is not actually facing the front, because that does not look the greatest in my opinion. But I like the head sculpt, very, very detailed. I do love the gold crest, the white, the metallic blue, the black, just overall looks really, really good. I do love the thrusters on the wings. I think that's a really nice touch. I do hope they're movable. That was actually one really cool feature I liked on the Thundertron Windblade. You could actually move the thrusters, you know, so you could actually make her look like she's flying, you know, and kind of hovering and gliding. I always thought that was pretty cool. And her accessories are this really cool kind of dark energon sword, because the purple looks very dark energon style. And I do like how it almost looks like it's on fire. And I do love the hilt design. And her second accessory is kind of her little back head crest piece, which you can remove it. I'm not really sure why you can do that. If there's some reference that I don't know of, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I have to say, it just looks like a really, really good figure. And that is it for deluxes. I mean, I guess, you know, her ship mode, or kind of her plane mode, I think looks pretty promising. I probably prefer her robot mode over her plane mode. It seems it's a bit simple, but I do quite like it. But now, taking a look at the core classes real quick, we're actually going to start off with a Boulder Crash, which is actually one of those next rock people. We actually did have this in the listings. It was like core class rock 1 or something like that. So he's another one of those rock people, and I think he looks really cool. He has this huge kind of sword dagger piece as an accessory, and he does transform into sort of this kind of motorcycle type thing, which I think looks really cool. And I do love how the sword, or his accessory, kind of the blade, actually forms sort of this kind of racing fin. I'm not sure if that's what Hasbro was going for, but I think it looks really cool. I do love the kind of sand brown color they actually used for the rock detailing and the color of the figure. I think that looks really good. And it transforms in 10 steps. And this is actually somewhat going to be kind of like the Power of the Primes Prime Masters, in which kind of, the Legends class or the Core class scale, these rock characters or these rock figures are sort of going to act as weapons, which I think is pretty cool. I do think that was actually kind of a missed opportunity with the Junkion. So we never got a Junkion Core class figure, unless I'm completely forgetting, but I'm pretty sure we never got a Junkion Core class figure, which I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity. So I'm really glad we're going to be getting some Core class figures in this size, in this scale, and you can actually have them act as sort of a dagger or a weapon. Unfortunately, they do not show a up-close image of it, so I really don't have much to say on it right now. And the release date is January 1st, and the price is $12. I did not buy this one. I will get it. I didn't buy this one, but I will. It's a core class figure, so you can literally find these anywhere. So definitely, I would say a priority purchase right now. If you are only wanting to get the best of the best, get the leaders, get the Hasbro Pulse exclusives. I would definitely say get those top figures, because they're probably going to be the most hard to find ones. But now for the next core class figure, we do have the Transformers Legacy United Core Class Beast Wars 2 Universe Tasmanian Kit. The price is $12. The release date is January 1st, 2024. Again, not going to get this one right now, but I will in the end. Not super familiar with this character, but it is a Beast Wars character, a part of Beast Wars 2. Definitely can tell that by the very interesting appearance and the kind of fur texturing design. I do like the kind of mouth, or sort of the tongue, actually sort of on the chest. I think that's pretty fun. And I do like the almost sort of bat-like head sculpt. I think that's pretty cool. And he does have sort of this kind of sword blade accessory. I think that's pretty cool as well. And he transforms into sort of kind of a squirrel, or kind of a fox, I think. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. I do like it. And his mouth can open. I like that as well. And I do like the blue for the eyes. And it's like the little kind of fur patches done in brown. I think it's actually pretty well detailed for such a small, cheap figure. I quite like it. But that's pretty much it I have. I'm going to try and go through these figures fast, because there's just so much to talk about. But I'm probably going to spend the most on this last core class figures, because definitely the most interesting, because this is actually the very first, for me, this is actually going to be my very first Energon Megatron, but this is actually also going to be our very first Energon figure for the modern day Legacy line. So here we have the Transformers Legacy United Core Class Energon Universe Megatron. So hopefully this means we're actually going to be getting some more Energon figures. Now I have to say right now, Transformers Energon is definitely my least favorite series of all time of Transformers. I hate it. I despise it. If you like this series, that is fully within your rights. I just do not like the show. I like the designs, I just do not like the show. It's just not a good show. I've actually tried to rewatch it. I've forced myself to try and rewatch it, several times, and I've always no, I hate it. So I'm just saying it now. I do not like the show, but I really like the designs. I think they look really, really good. I do hope we get like a Cybertron star, not Cybertron, sorry, an Energon Starscream. Maybe we could get like some Energon quintessons. That'd be pretty cool. But getting into the core class, this obviously will undoubtedly probably become a core class Galvatron, because they can just repaint it into those darker purple gunmetal gray colors, maybe slightly retooled the head or the chest, and there you go. But this looks really good. I do like the huge cannons on the shoulders and the wings. I do love the green for the wings and the accessories. And I love the kind of gunmetal gray silver for the actual color of the figure, and the blue for the actual hands and kind of the crest and the feet. And it just overall looks like an amazing, amazing figure. And he does transform into his very cool, almost Star Trek sort of Star Wars inspired ship. I think it looks really good as well. And I do have to say, the amount of details and the stuff on this figure is like amazing. I mean, it's a core class figure, I mean, he comes with like 3 accessories. His articulation appears to be pretty top notch. And he appears to also have quite a bit of paint apps and details. So definitely going to be probably like core class Iguanas, where he just stands out from the rest. He does transform in 11 steps, and I already did cover the pre-order date, or the release date and the price. And yeah, let me know what you think of the first Energon figure, a part of this this series, this Legacy line, and I do hope we get more. So that is it for all of the Transformers Legacy United figures. Wow, quite a lineup. I do want to quickly mention the PulseCon exclusive. I'm just going to quickly go through it because they already, kind of like the Optimus, talked about it and mentioned it in a previous video, so I'm not going to spend that much time on it. I did buy this one because it looks very, very good. I do have to say, kind of like I said before, if you are on a limited budget, you know, you're only getting the top tier, you know, the hardest ones to get. Highly recommend to get this one. If you want this, get it now. It's the PulseCon exclusive of the year. It's actually still in stock. I'm surprised. The only one that has sold out was Windblade, which I'm like very surprised by. I do know Windblade is a very popular character, but I was expecting probably the first one to sell out was Thundertron and this PulseCon exclusive, but it's still in stock as of the time I'm recording this audio, which is about an hour after PulseCon ended. So it's still up, so I'm surprised. And the good thing about this one is it's actually in stock right now. It is not a pre-order. If you buy this, you will probably get this within the next couple days, which is pretty cool. But just going to quickly go over it, because as I said before, when we first learned about this, I did a very quick video. I just want to kind of sort of do an update video, sort of, you know, give you my new feelings and thoughts on it, because at the time we had very bad in-hand images. We didn't even know the price. We didn't even know the release date. But the price is $45, so I'm actually very glad, because for a while we were thinking it was going to be the $50 to $55 range, and I was kind of frowning my face at that. I was like, that is not worth it. But I think for this, I think that's definitely worth it, because you do have to keep in mind, this is a deluxe, which is $25, a Minicon, which is quite small, not core class size. I would say probably about Micromaster size, so probably I would say maybe a $5 worth of Minicon, so that's about 30 bucks there. And there is 9 accessories, and most of them are brand new. Most of them are new accessories that we have never seen before. We do have some blaster pieces, which are just the classic, you know, Jetfire ones we've seen 1,000 times, which I'm really sick of at this point, but a nice inclusion. But I do think for a PulseCon exclusive, we probably should have new blaster pieces, not reused ones. But I like it. I really do like it. It's, of course, it's the Power Links deco for Hot Shots. No new tooling with the actual figure, just some new accessories, and the new Jolt Minicon, which can incorporate into Hot Shot in several different ways, which is really cool. We can finally, you know, do his actual Minicon gimmick, you know, his proper cannon, which is really, really nice. I don't know. I do have to say, I really don't know if I prefer this Power Links deco or the original classic mainline one. I never really had problems with the mainline one. That's actually a really good thing. I do have to say, I always have a concern when they do these exclusives. I do worry if they're going to use a pre-existing figure, you know, hopefully it's not a mold plagued with QC tolerances, you know, breakage problems, but I've had no problems with Hot Shot, and I've had it almost 2 years now. So if you're worried about Hot Shot, you know, you maybe never got this figure or this mold, don't be. I've never had problems with it that I've had. Maybe other people did. But yeah, that's really all I'm going to say on it, because this has actually been quite a long podcast segment, and I already did discuss this figure before, but I did pre-order this one. I did purchase this one, actually, so stay tuned for this review. This will probably be the quickest review of this whole bunch, because the other ones are like February and January. This one's in stock now, so stay tuned for that review. And I have to say, the Minicons included in this is actually a really good sign. Hopefully we can get some more very soon. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Please leave all your thoughts on these figures in the comment section down below. I do know this is a very long podcast segment, probably one of my longest ever, but there is just so much to talk about. I do know there was no Studio Series figures, but I have to say, I'm holding out hope. I think probably before, just speaking to all the Studio Series fans, I think before the end of the year, we'll probably get some more Studio Series, because I think the last time we got some new Studio Series was when like Rise of the Beast was still, you know, kind of at its peak, at its height in the theaters, and it's not in the theaters anymore. So it's been quite a while since we've gotten, so I think it's definitely due time. So maybe in like November or December, maybe we'll get some Gamer Edition and some 86, because I actually really wanted to see some Gamer Edition. I really wanted to see like a Gamer Edition, Soundwave or Starscream, or maybe an Ironhide or a Ratchet. I'd really love to see that. So I hope you enjoyed this PulseCon. If any more, updates or news comes out, because when PulseCon happens, just more stuff and more stuff comes out day after day after day. I might have to do sort of an updated segments, but let me know which figures you're going to get and which ones you're going to pass on. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.